other guys. This is Deep Dives, Peter. The Tyrese Knight thing, I feel like over the next several weeks, we're going to have more and more Seahawks conversations. Yeah. They win every week. They have it going on. They have a really cool coaching story, and they have great young players like Tyrese Knight. My favorite list of the year, Peter, I'm about the B-sides. I like those type of albums. What do you guys got?
Peter, I look at 1 and 3 on that list, and it takes me back to that Saturday in Indianapolis in early March and how fun the wide receiver day was. Everyone was so obsessed with Xavier Worthy and his 40 time. Brian Thomas Jr., great. Jalen McMillan, great. Brian Thomas Jr.'s college quarterback has been wonderful. Are we going to see Jalen McMillan's college quarterback at some point for the Atlanta Falcons? I don't know.
It's a great call. The great call. That would be interesting to see, Penix. But I like Quinyon Mitchell. It's been a long time since we've had that shutdown cornerback, and so this young star coming up, it would be cool to see if he can start that back up. I love the NFL when we had shutdown corners. You had a couple of them battling it out for that shutdown corner position, so maybe he's the next one.
I want to give a shout out to our researcher on this segment, Dante, and then Chris McLean, who's the producer. We really did a deep dive this week. This is not names you're seeing everywhere else, but circle number 48 on the Seahawks, Tyrese Knight. To your point, Kyle, I think we're going to be talking quite a bit about him over the next few weeks.
There it is, Schrager's Fat Five, Week 14. Kyle's favorite of the season. I agree.
Beautiful list.
about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
All right, there's some beef jerky. It's time for What's Your Beef, presented by our friends at Old Trapper. It was the final game of the 2001 season. It was Packers, Giants, and Peter, you remember it well, as do I. Michael Strahan needed a sack to break the single-season sack record held by Mark Gastineau. All-time record was 22, and Strahan's sitting right there. He's playing against the Packers, and at the end of the game, roll the video if we have it. It's a very controversial play, and at the time, Brett Favre, who's in this prime, complete legend, adored, appeared to take a dive in front of Strahan when the Packers had the game in hand already. He said, what the heck, I'll give it to him. Troy Aikman on the call says, yeah, he got a gimme there. And the take was Favre handed Strahan the record. Now, Strahan and Favre, for years, now decades, are constantly asked about this. And then yesterday, it came up in a video of Mark Gastineau going and confronting Brett Favre. Brett Favre walks up to him and says, I don't think we've ever met before. He walks up to him, and Gastineau is saying, you took my record away. You took my record. And the understanding, Peter, being that in not being the sack king, it has all kinds of benefits and ways you can make money for years and years and years that he felt that Favre took away from him. A lot of ways we can go on this. What should we get into first?
I'm wondering if there's a beef at all. My beef might be everyone reacting to that clip in a silo, because the clip went viral yesterday. It's for a 30 for 30 on the sack exchange, which is going to celebrate Mark Gastineau. And I believe my beef in this is the thought that, let's put Gastineau on blast here. You got to think about it from Gastineau's side on this. Mark Gastineau is one of the most dominant players in New York. We never talk Mark Gastineau on Good Morning Football. One of the coolest players in New York. I had the starting lineup as a kid, as a Jets fan growing up. I had it in my room. He was an absolute menace. He had 20 sacks in a season twice. He had 19 sacks again in another season, and he held the sack record. And in his view, in this elder part of his life, he has missed out on millions of dollars in endorsements and on card shows and on possibly Hall of Fame bid because he is not the single-season sack leader. Is that wrong? Perhaps. But that's Mark Gastineau's feeling. It's captured on tape, and now he's being made into some sort of, I don't know, a joke online, a punchline for him being so petty about this. But that's his true feelings, and he had them bottled up. So maybe my beef on this is that we should maybe take a second to have some empathy for Mark Gastineau.
I understand completely, and I love Mark Gastineau as well, and I love the starting lineup figures, Peter. My beef with anything is I still hate that Favre won't admit that he did this. And listen, he's talked about it for years. Roll the video again. At the time, Favre was so charming on the field, and everything he did was fun, and it was truly a magical player.
John Madden would just chuckle at everything.
Just gush. People say right now that Collinsworth is always gushing about Mahomes. You should have heard Madden about Favre. It was all he talked about. So at the time when Favre did this, it was like a twinkle in his eye, and look, I'm going to get this, and I'm Favre, and I'm going to give him the record. But since then, he has never admitted whatsoever, including this week. I personally have interviewed Brett Favre about this, and I really pushed him. Come on, Brett, stop. You did it. It's fine. Just admit it. And he swears this line about we had a naked bootleg, and once I saw it, I went down. And he also has a go-to joke every time someone asks him about it. He says, well, I wish I had some of that money that Strahan has, ha-ha. And it's just deflecting. And I just think now, if ever, with Gastineau confronting you and really earnestly saying this was hurtful to me, at least come out and say, look, it's the end of the game. I like Strahan. We had a great rapport. I'm sitting at the precipice of history. And I just felt like I think he deserved the record. And looking back, Brett Favre had these really heartfelt tweets yesterday. They came from his account about, looking back, I realize now the damage it might have cost to Gastineau, maybe emotionally, certainly financially, and maybe it would have done something differently. But he still doesn't say, I handed it to Strahan. We all still feel like he did. I don't know if there's anybody out there, to Gastineau's point, who's like, no, I think Favre did have a naked bootleg. As if Brett Favre's calling naked bootleg. That was not how Brett Favre played. So that's my beef. Brett, just come forth and say, look, hands up, I gave it to him. And Strahan he didn't do anything wrong. Strahan did nothing wrong. If Favre should just admit it, that's my beef.
Yeah, I love, Peter, I love your take on, just kind of like giving it a little easy and taking a break on Gastineau. And I think why is because I think people forget, or maybe not understand, that for players, especially after their playing years, they are judged based off of their career. And a lot of people won't admit it, but it's true. People treat you based off of how you played the game, right? And for something like him, he played at a high level, but to have that shiny mark kind of removed, it does. It kind of makes him, it's a part of his personality. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but their stats, their accomplishments, it's tied to who they are and their personality. So it's just the real reality of kind of what he's doing. So I felt the emotion where he was coming from when he approached it. Awkward, but I felt the emotion.
Go ahead and wrap it up, guys.
That was a very awkward video, and love Mark Gastineau. He was J.J. Watt back then.
seen this?
That's right. This is Good Morning Football. We are brought to you by Old Trapper Beef Jerky, live in both LA and New York City. It's Wednesday, December 11th. New friend at the table, Cam Wolf, joining us. We love Cam Wolf.
How you doing, man?
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Cam.
So good to see you. Cam, Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, Akbar Bajbiyamila. I'm Jamie Erdahl. Cam, I'm a little worried about you, though. You look incomplete to me. What's going on with you today?
No wolf pen today. Okay. Last name's Wolf. I usually bring the wolf pen, but I wanted to ease into it.
Oh.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And we will have a wolf pen, but
Sure.
I felt like, people got to get to know me.
That just means Cam's going to be in a tuxedo tomorrow, and you're going to have your Wolfman on next to your bow tie.
Maybe.
We all know it, Cam.
Another reason for people to tune in tomorrow, right?
Cam's happy because he's in climate control this week in L.A. in the studio. Usually we see Cam bundled up in Buffalo or sweating everything off in Miami. Like you're all over the place, Cam. We love your coverage. You're great.
Appreciate you, Jamie.
Absolutely. Let's go. Time for a round of 3 and out, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, our first down, we're looking at Bills-Lions. It's a matchup happening this weekend. There's so much to unpack here. The Detroit Lions have the best record in the NFC. The Bills have already won their AFC East division. However, coming off, there's Kyle.
Bills, Lions. Guys, just drink this in for a sec. Let's just sit down. One of these teams winning is it's a guarantee.
To the far right.
Bills, Lions. Guys, just drink this in for a sec. Let's just sit down. One of these teams winning is it's a guarantee.
To the far right.
Bills, Lions.
All right, we got it. We got it.
Guys, just drink this in for a sec. Let's just sit down. One of these teams.
Okay, Peter, as we were mentioning, does this feel like a Super Bowl preview to you?
Can we see it again? No.
Bills, Lions. It's a guarantee. I don't think we played that enough. Let's play
That was it.
It's as if tomorrow is the Super Bowl and I got it right.
I know.
It's still December.
That said, I will give you your credit because right now this does feel like a Super Bowl preview, even with the Bills' loss last week. What's interesting to me is that Bills loss, I think it was a horrible defensive game. They couldn't stop anything. The Rams went 11 of 15 on third down. And yet I came out of that thing and I'm like, gosh, the Bills are tough to put away. Like, they are so tough to put away. I picked the Chiefs and the Packers. I'm going to stick by those guys. But I'll tell you, if you're asking me two teams who are playing the best football in the National Football League, even with a loss from Buffalo, I'm going to say the Bills-Lions. That's a fair Super Bowl preview, and I cannot wait for this game.
That would be a great one. I mean, both teams have never won a Super Bowl. That would be really, really interesting to watch, seeing just the firepower in that offense and watching the way Josh Allen, the way he's been playing ball. I love watching this dude now. Like, I've become quite a fan, and you can hear the emotion in watching, seeing these two guys. But, yeah, this is going to be the telltale. Now, we're still seeing an unhealthy Lions team, though. Like, by the time they get to the Super Bowl, if they're fully healthy, oh, my goodness, that's going to break the internet right there.
Bills, Lions. You're guaranteed one of them will play. Of course, I'm sticking by this pick. And listen, I feel great about it. 10-3, 12-1. There's concerns in Buffalo land that teams that run the ball really well could be a problem. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to Houston, who runs the ball well, and then they lost to the Rams, who ran a lot. And when teams get a lead on them, which is really rare, then those teams start running. And in the Rams game, Terrell Bernard's out there. Matt Milano is out there. These guys that they're dudes in the middle, and it was not a good game from that perspective at all. They lost, and they gave up 44 points. And you say, 44 points, they're in the Super Bowl? They have Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's unbelievable. I love what the Lions have still. And I love that Cam Wolf is here. Cam, I'm sorry I'm going to waste the time on this, but I think it's well-deserved. We're talking about Buffalo. Cam was on our show nonstop after the DeMar Hamlin deal, and Cam was standing outside of a hospital in Cincinnati for what felt like weeks and weeks and weeks in the snow. And I feel like you should have won an award for that reporting. You were so good, and I didn't want to have Buffalo and you on without mentioning it again and thanking you for all the work you did back then.
Hey, Kyle, I appreciate that. I love Buffalo. I know you love Buffalo. And I think this game is about Buffalo. Because I've seen Buffalo a lot this year. It's been the most impressive team I've seen this year. But every time you talk about Buffalo, there's a yeah, but. There's a yeah, but they get beat by Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, but can their defense hold up? Yeah, but can they do it in the playoffs? Last week was a moment for the yeah, but folks of this is why they're not going to do it. Sure. This is why they're not going to win the Super Bowl, because of this defense, this way. And I talked with their general manager, Brandon Beane, a few weeks ago, and he talked about just this offseason. He was like, a lot of people rolled us out. They called this, off year for year. It's just a transition. We have different people in the building, but our DNA, our ability to respond to adversity is what's going to matter. And I think this game's an opportunity for them to respond to their own adversity. They've clinched the AFC East. That's done. All this matters seeding. But can you go into a road environment in Detroit against a team that, for all intents and purposes, is a Super Bowl favorite and beat them? I think their defense responds this week. Bobby Babbitt, Sean McDermott, I think they put on a show, and I think they beat Detroit Lions in Detroit this week.
Cam, I like that. Cam, I like that. We did not stick the buzzer on you because Kyle had to kiss the ring first, so we gave you that time on the back end. But second down. What do we think of Bill Belichick, Peter, coaching in college instead of the NFL? We started to peel back the onion on this yesterday. But, Peter, we got to run it back now that you're on the show.
Yeah, I had the rare opportunity of being with Gronkowski, Brady, and Edelman on Sunday and was able to talk to them both on camera and off about this. And, like, their original responses are just, like, smirks. Like, no, like, how is he going to recruit? I mean, you're going to come to our school. And then you start talking about unpeeling the onion a little bit, and it's like, there might not be an NFL job waiting for Bill Belichick. A college job might be. And right now, this is fluid, and by the time you're watching this, the news might change. But he's got a staff ready to go. McDaniels, Patricia, his son is the defensive coordinator up at Washington. Steve, he might be the coach in waiting. He might say, hey, bring me to get it. You got Mick Lombardi, who's Mike's son, who is on all these Belichick staffs. Like, they have a crew ready to go. It's almost like the Avengers. Like, when are we going to get the call?
Assemble.
Let's go assemble and let's do it. I think that it would be a shame if this crew sat and waited for an NFL job, and that NFL job wasn't guaranteed yet. Look, 3 teams are open right now. The Saints, the Jets, the Bears. From what I'm gathering, none of those organizations have reached out to Belichick, even though they are completely free to do so. I don't know if there's an NFL job, and if that's the case, maybe college is where he should be, and he could bring these guys, and he could rebuild the North Carolina football program.
Well, Peter, I think Bill Belichick has shown that he can recruit young talent. So perhaps he goes out there and finds a way to go out there and maybe get those young guys to get, I'm just saying, man. I didn't think he was picking that, but he's got the championship ring. He's got the ability
in the NFL. Like, what do you mean? Because he's not actually that good at that.
He made the joke. Let him just make the joke.
I don't get the joke. I don't get it.
I'm going to pass now. I'm going to pass because I think I'm past my time here.
Yeah, Kyle.
He did.
No, I'm going back to Akbar.
No,
Go ahead. Well, you look at how he's built
Peter
his
is
roster.
squirming.
He's built his rosters with very young talent. He understands how to bring personnel in, and this is what was made Bill Belichick the guy. With a straight face.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Pervert Schrager over here is going somewhere else. It's not a joke. It's just a good take.
I thought that was Akbar's best moment of the show.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
I have takes on that as well. Well, Peter, I think it's interesting you say Avengers Assemble because in Infinity War, Captain America, the leader of the Avengers, is like 92 years old, too. So, like, that actually is... I'm going back to college, and I'm going to be in my 70s, and I'm going to talk to these little brats who want, like, $100,000 so they can be a long snapper on my team. That sounds horrible. I guess he has all his friends he can coach with, but if Bill Belichick becomes the head coach in North Carolina, I will go back to college and re-enroll as well, like Rodney Dangerfield. What do you got, Cam?
Man, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see you with a pencil in your hand doing classroom work. I actually like this. I know a lot of people were talking about Belichick and his age, but the guy that he coached over, Nick Saban, is the greatest coach college football history. And he's a very old
nice
guy,
buzz.
quote unquote. But he's had a lot of success. I think they've learned a lot from each other. They're close friends, as we've seen throughout time. And I'm sure they'll share stories about recruiting. And that's the thing that everybody keeps on harping on, the recruiting. This new era of college football with NIL has actually become more NFL-like, with free agency, with the business-like. They're going to want to know how much money I'm going to get. That's going to be the calling card. And I could see Belichick building an NFL-type program in college football where, say, I'm going to get you to the league. I'm going to get you ready. And if you're looking for that, you can do that. And so I actually like it. I think Bill would be good at it.
All right, moving on. Third down, the Broncos host the Colts on Sunday with a potential playoff spot on the line. I know, Peter, you love this matchup. Tell us why.
I think it's actually the sleeper game of the week. You've got big shiny ones in Steelers, Eagles, and of course we love our Lions. But this might be for a playoff spot. Now you look at that, you say, why do you talk 6-7 versus 8-5? If the Colts beat the Broncos head-to-head, that makes them 7-7. It makes the Broncos 8-6. The Broncos have a fairly difficult schedule left. The Colts have a cakewalk left. You should see the last 3 games. And I think it's cool because you look at these 2 quarterbacks, 2 young guns going at it. And you might think, well, Anthony Richardson's in his 2nd year. He's got all this more experience than Bo Nix. No. Bo Nix is older. Bo Nix has played a lot more football. And Bo Nix comes in with a lot different of a resume. over the course of their time, and yet Richardson can steal a playoff berth from them. Colts have a very manageable last few weeks of the season. Broncos have a far more difficult one. If the Colts win this game, write it down, we might be seeing Indianapolis in the playoffs and not Miami and not Denver.
I might ride that train with you, Peter, because I want to see Anthony Richardson really show up in this moment. This is, to me, we've seen his maturity as he lost his position, came back up, and now this is a game where it has a lot. And it's a make or break for the Colts, I believe. And so I think that this is going to give us an opportunity to see what he's made of. We know the physical talent. Now let's see some of the other talent that he has in being able to manage a game against a very good Broncos team.
I think this has the recipe for the Broncos to flex on everybody and crush this team. I like what the Colts are doing, and they're a cool story. I feel like the Broncos really have something going here. And about the Colts, okay, they've won 2 out of their last 3. Check out the wins. They beat the Jets. Like the 2024 Jets, a horrible team. They beat them by 1 point. They beat the Steelers by 1 point. Or they beat the Patriots by 1 point. They beat the Patriots by 1. They beat the Jets by 1.
Dramatic fashion.
It's great. Close game. I don't think this will be a close game. And I don't want to insult Indianapolis. We've had some Broncos on lately, and the way that they're talking about Peyton and the way they're talking about Knicks, I feel like it's not a sleeping giant because they're 8-5. They're really good. I feel like that home field advantage, I think the buzz is back in Denver. I think they win this game, and I think they win it easily.
Kyle, I'm with you, man. This is the Broncos' playoff spot to lose. Colts are a great story. I love Anthony Richardson. He's developing well since he's been benched. But I think the Broncos' storyline is this defense and their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. I was there in Miami last year when the Broncos gave up 70 points against the Dolphins. And everybody was calling to fire Vance Joseph. This is terrible. He didn't pack his bags. What did he do? He responded, and they've been one of the best defenses in football since that moment. They're in the top 3 in a lot of categories: points per game, sacks, quarterback hits, next-gen stats, pressure rates. They are an aggressive defense, and as much as we talk about how Bo Nix and Sean Payton are doing well, this defense is going to take over this game, make it difficult for Anthony Richardson. And when they get into the playoffs, I think they pull an upset over someone because that defense and the way they play style of football, they're going to be a dangerous out.
Okay, Cam Wolf. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, timeout. I got to raise my hand. If they are the 7 seed, Cam, that means you're predicting an upset over either the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Steelers. That's a bold take, my friend.
Or the Steelers. He had the Steelers ready on that list, just so we know. Okay, good. That was 3 and out. We got still more to come on GMFB. Like, we're counting down the days to Christmas for a lot of reasons, one of which is you get to watch 2 football games that day. Colts, Broncos, great AFC matchup. So is this day. 1 p.m. Eastern, Chiefs, Steelers. 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Ravens, Texans. It's in Pittsburgh. It's in Houston. It's a day full of football and family. You can enjoy it all on Netflix. We know you already have it. Still to come on our show, though. Let's take a look back at Week 14. Those guys are going to put their blazers on with their network patch Velcroed to their chest, and they are going to take us inside the booth.
Plus, we got a guy. You want a great player on a great team? There he is. Kirby Joseph. He is tied for the league lead in interceptions. He is on a Detroit Lions team that beats people up, that picks people off, and this guy's got a big-time personality. Talking to Kirby Joseph of the first-place Detroit Lions at Good Morning Football right after this.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
Hey, don't stop, time to get it. Really ain't no competition, baby. I was born a winner. Hey, Kirby Joseph.
That's the man.
Oh, how big is that? How big is that? Got the crowd screaming because they about to see a show. I be quiet, but I get live when I hear that whistle blow. Kirby Joseph, he's gonna go, baby. Count it down. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
That is big-time stuff to set the tone. You cannot float the ball up around Kirby. Kirby said, don't worry, I got you.
Let's go. Don't stop, time to get it. Really go hard, say we some big winners.
He said, don't try me, don't test me, because I will pick you off. And that leads our next guest to be tied for the most interceptions in the NFL so far this season. He is an absolute nightmare to opposing quarterbacks. From the NFC-leading Detroit Lions, he is 12-1. He is safety Kirby Joseph. Kirby, what's going on, buddy?
No, what's going on, everybody?
Kirby, we love to see you this morning. We always love having you on our show because we like to be so prepared. But when you walked into our New York studio a couple of years back with a backpack, we thought you can leave that at the door. You don't need it. No, you put that backpack at the foot of your seat. And we said, why are you keeping it so close? You reached down and you pulled out your Aaron Rodgers intercepted ball straight out of your backpack. You brought it into the studio that day. We love you for it. 2 questions. Where is that ball now? And what do you keep in your backpack today that's your point of pride?
I ain't got it on me today. I should have brought it today, but it's at home. I got it all framed up and stuff with all the other ones.
What do you have in your bag these days? So you got another one? You got Mahomes? You got anybody that you keep in your bag?
I got something in my bag, but I ain't gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I got it in my bag.
Okay. Kirby, you've become one of the biggest personalities in the league. We love watching you guys play, and you live and breathe football. You guys are 12-1. You clinched a playoff spot. You're winning the close games. You're winning the blowouts. You guys are doing it all. And now you've got a team from the other conference coming to town. The Buffalo Bills come marching in, and you know what that quarterback's all about. It feels like a heavyweight fight from this seat. You're in the building. How are you guys approaching this potential Super Bowl preview?
Yeah, we got the Bills coming up. I feel like they're a great team. They got some great competitors on that side. I feel like we just got to play our game, man, and just trust in the game plan and just do our job and fly around and just make plays.
Yeah, okay, well, you talk about making plays. Let's talk about, Dan Campbell, we know, is a superstar. We hear a lot about Ben Johnson. But I want to know, about your defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, because you guys play with a different type of nastiness. I'm a big fan of your game, the way you play the game. Talk to me about Aaron Glenn and how he leads this defense.
AG, man, I feel like he preaches a lot about our identity. I feel like when we go out there, we got to show people like who our identity is. As you can see him preaching to the whole defense mid-game, like what we got to do and how we got to come out on this drive. I feel like he preaches a lot about violence. I feel like a lot of the things that defenses don't, that advantage for defense in this league today is fear. Putting fear into our opponents. I feel like that's a great advantage that we have. So just coming out, being very violent and putting the fear into our opponents is like what AG really preaches for.
Does he have a mantra that you live by, that he's constantly stating?
Nah, not really. It's kind of just like a whole bunch. One thing about AG, he's just very inspiring. Like it's different games and it's different weeks, and I feel like every week he just things he says is just very motivating. Like I feel like everybody really understands his point and what he's trying to do that game and the agenda.
So Kirby, there's putting fear in your opponents, and there's also having no fear yourself. To that point, if you're playing against another team who's a rival and they have a young tight end who says that they want to put their hands on you in a game and kind of call you out like the Packers tight end did, what is it like when you hear that from Tucker Kraft going into a game, and what went into your decision to confront him in the tunnel?
To be honest, I fear no man. I only fear God. Yeah, he said some things about me, but I ain't never really too much worried about it. But that's it. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Fear no man, but fear God. I know you're probably not eating some mac and cheese this morning, but I do want to know for you personally, you bring that energy, that trash talk into the game, but you back it up on the field. 7 interceptions, 0 touchdowns allowed. Do you feel a sense of pride for that, bringing the intensity back to the NFC North rivalry?
Oh yeah, I love that. I feel like this is a game and we compete. So like I just love when competitors we get together, we go head to head on Sunday, or Monday, or Thursday, whatever his time it is. I just love playing this game. So like that trash talk, that's just a part of my game. That's just like who I am. But it just gets me going, and it also I know for some people it gets the other person going. So allow like that person get going. It just allows me to be better and play better on my game, on my part.
So Kirby, you're going against Josh Allen, and this guy is Thanos right now. Like, he looks like an absolute superhero out of this world. There's a lot of great players, and you played against him. Right now, this dude feels different. He's coming around the corner, decides to tuck and run. He's coming to your side of the field. What are you thinking? How are you getting this big dude down, and how do you feel about the matchup with 17 on Buffalo?
To be honest, I don't really think at the time. I kind of just go in and make the tackle. I kind of just don't. I'm not going to decide how I'm going to hit him, however, which way I'm going to get him down is how I'm going to get him down. I feel like Josh Allen, he's a great quarterback. He makes some great throws. Hopefully I can get an interception on him. We played on my rookie year for Thanksgiving, and we kind of lost, so hoping to get a win this time would be amazing.
Kirby, I was at your game against the Colts last month, and your teammate Carlton Davis was telling me they can't keep up with you and Brian Branch, the corners can't, with your interceptions. So they created their own competition, 100 push-ups on command with their INTs. So I want to ask you about you and Branch, BB. Do you guys have a friendly competition between each other to keep that fire burning?
We ain't got no competition right now. He got to catch up. I told that boy catch up. But for real though, BB, I mean, he's a dog, man. He's a turnover machine just like me, man. He's liable to make a play at any given time. So like, I gotta stay on my A game, and I gotta make sure I keep going because I think it was like he caught me in one game. Like when I had like 4 interceptions, I think it was like the Cowboys game. I think it was. He caught me in one game. So like, I gotta watch out for that boy because he's liable to change the game just like me.
You guys are both awesome. I got to say something. We're filming this interview, and you've got the picture of Herman Moore above your head, a Lions legend. When you walk those halls there in Detroit and you see those legends behind you, I mean, look at these names here. You got Herman, and then he goes through the list. How badly do you want to see your face one day be put up there on those walls in one of those frames?
Super bad, man. I feel like ever since a kid, like the only thing I ever wanted to do was put on a gold jacket. Like that's all I ever want to do is just put on a gold jacket. So like it just takes time, and I feel like ever since I've been in the league, I've just been making history with like everything I've been doing. So I feel like I'm on the right track. But there's always room for improvement. There's always room to get better. So I feel like if I'm not getting better, I'm getting worse. So like I feel like every year I'm just gonna keep trying to beat the standard. I feel like my last 2 seasons I have 4 interceptions. My rookie year I had like 8 turnovers. This year, I have 7 interceptions alone. I feel like I got to keep breaking that standard, keep improving, because I don't want to be average. I want to be great.
Kirby, it's really cool, the energy you're bringing, because some guys won't put those words out into existence. They won't say things like gold jacket while they're still playing because they don't want to jinx it. But the fact that you're creating that standard for yourself is really impressive. We also love the energy that your head coach puts out. There was a look-alike contest for Dan Campbell over the weekend in Detroit. Everything is coming up Dan Campbell. How much do you love your head coach, and what is your favorite thing about him?
One thing I feel like I love about Dan Campbell is that he tells you exactly how it is. He tells you what you need to hear. He's not coded. He's not gonna like baby you. He's gonna tell you exactly what it is. I feel like my rookie year, we had a lot of talks, and I feel like he has the same mindset I have. He doesn't want me to slack off or be contemplating on my play. He always wants me to get better. So like just having talks with him, like man, I feel like he really always wants everybody to get better. Not only me, but everybody on his team. Like he's really for everybody on his team, and that's what I love. That's what I love. Like when they say like he's a player's coach, like Dan Campbell is really a player's coach, and I feel like it's because he played the game, he lived the game. So like he understands what we all go through day to day. Like man, he's really like so inspiring. I feel like the meetings, like team meetings, you might not know what's going on, but like it's stuff like it translates into the game. I feel like the things he talks, the things he preaches really translate into the game. Like Look at that guy right there. Man. That's my coach right there, man. That's really my coach right there, man. I got so much love for Dan Campbell. So like, he's just an amazing dude. Like, I could tell, like, he not only takes care of the player, but he also takes care of the coaches. So like, I feel like that's just everything.
That's so cool.
Kirby, what are you thinking in that game as a guy who plays defense when Dan Campbell says on 4th and inches, send the offense back out there, let's run the ball, let's get this thing?
Go ahead, do it. You got
Yep.
I ain't tripping. Go ahead. I trust Dan with all my heart, so I'm never worried. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I got 2 minutes, so I gotta go to the meeting.
Okay, go. There is a method.
Oh, yeah.
Madness.
Go.
Go,
Get out of here.
for
Go,
Kirby.
go,
Get out of here, Kirby. Go. Leave the shot. Go to your meeting. We love you, Kirby Joseph.
Let's go, man. Come on, let's go.
Hey, y'all go vote for me.
Click leave. Go, get out of here. Exit Zoom.
He gone.
I appreciate him saying it. Yeah. Just say it. I gotta go. Fine. There it is, New York City. It is the media capital of the world, which is why Peter and I are about to take a minute to give some love to the media in a segment we call Into the Booth. I always love when Nance, or in this case, Buck and Aikman, welcome you into the booth. It kind of has that fireside chat feeling, a little on camera forbidden. Peter, you look so stately.
I have to call out our wonderful producer, Aman Ali, over here. These are incredible patches, like where the old CBS or Hank Stram even with a Chiefs logo. We have official patches for this segment, Kyle, because we give out the best in the business, and we are going to give out some of the best awards this week.
I'm going to wear this on Christmas Eve. I've never felt classier, and I absolutely love this. But yeah, so many awards for the players every single week. Peter and I give awards to the broadcasters. Peter, would you like to tee up the first one?
Let's do it. Let's first go to the best play call of the week. And you have to hear the enthusiasm for a man who is working on the mend post-surgery. Here's Mike Tirico with the call of the lucky kick in Kansas City.
The kick will come from Matthew Wright. This is for the division, for the Chiefs. And Wright off the upright and in for the division. It's the dike for the division for the Chiefs. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh my goodness, which leads to our next award, which is the best story. And sometimes the best stories aren't in your traditional broadcast. Sometimes they come in the form of The Simpsons, or sometimes they come in the form of an alt broadcast like we get with the Manning cast. Chris Collinsworth was at his all-time best on Monday night. And Kyle, I have to serve you up. How good was this story?
This is absolutely fantastic. Let's throw to the side, and then we'll talk about it, because we've seen this for years, the slide in, but exactly how does it go down? You would not believe the backstory in the Collinsworth slide. Go ahead, fellas.
So Al's got it in his contract that he's the only guy on camera for the first minute of the broadcast. I don't care. It's less I got to try and remember. I'm happy about it, right? So fine. I got no problem at all. So they would say, well, just lean out of the shot. You don't have to, like, we just lean out. So I'm like, what are you talking about? So I go, like this? So, yeah. So literally every game we open the broadcast, and I'm lying on the table over here like this while Al's, waxing poetic on the other side.
Yes.
And then he gets finished, his partner coming in, and I go up like this, right? And so this whole thing becomes a totally crazed sort of thing. And they started putting it like, in a World Cup bar, and the winning goal was made, and people would scream. And I don't know what the heck happened, but it made me famous. So I'll slide anytime anybody wants me to.
All right, two factors of this. There's the Al Michaels components, in which in his contract, he has to be the only person on camera. And it's just like, Al is such a gangster. Yeah. People are like, what? Does that really exist? Yes. It's not surprising to me. It didn't blow my hair back. If you know anybody who's ever worked in television, or anything about television, it surprise me at all.
Nothing surprises us.
Nothing. Like, I was like, yeah.
Does the fact that Chris revealed it surprise you?
Maybe a little bit. I guess that's true. But also, so that's the Michaels piece. It's so incredible that Collinsworth would be willing to kind of sacrifice some dignity and bend over out of the shot. You're still opening the shot of the broadcast. You're worried that your tie is going to be askew. You're all perfect with your little dissertation, and he's leaning out of the. He's not even sliding in clean. He's got to be all frumpled and contorted just to get out of Al's contractually mandated shot.
And Al stood on business. He's like, no, that's the deal.
I feel like if Chris's shoulder is in the shot, like Al can sue. Like they're in breach. It's only me, and that is so great.
Loved it.
We should start the Good Morning Football shows, Peter. Only your face. We all have to get out.
First minute.
And that's it, Peter. So credit to Al. Like, I mean, that's going to be something remembered about Al. That's part of the lore now.
Oswald, Oswald, the bunny that he was traded for, and now this, the lean. Unbelievable, Al. We love
this. Might be bigger than The Miracle.
Might be bigger than The Miracle.
I want the movie. Go get Kurt Russell and make another movie about the lean and the contract. It's so good. This, to me, is bigger than beating the Soviets on the ice.
Okay, but Al wasn't done.
Really?
Because Al had the line of the week also.
Okay, let's go.
Let's listen to Al Michaels on Thursday Night Football with the Sage Wisdom line of the week.
You look at that decision, and it's easy to say, what the heck is he doing? Deep in his own territory. But listen, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You can't question it when he does it and it works.
Yeah, thin line between a genius and a bum.
All right, so let me ask you this. Can you still say bum?
Bum. Is we too sensitive for bum?
I think bum is still alive.
A thin line between genius and bum.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And listen, you know how that game ended. He was on the genius side of it. But it's a forthcoming tale from Al because he's watching the game, and you know that maybe the rest of the Lions season may be that line between genius and I don't know if I could say, but I can say whatever he wants.
It feels wrong saying bum, but it did.
Okay. All right.
Al.
We have one more award. And this Ross Tucker keeps coming up in this segment. And Ross does great work calling games and many different platforms. This is our Off the Rails award, and this goes to a radio call.
Radio call, Westwood One?
Westwood One Radio, that same Packers-Lions game. And it's Ian Eagle, and it's our old friend Ross Tucker, and it's a very famous fan now in Detroit, and their reaction to it. Go ahead.
There is a dude in the stands that brought actual cheese and a grater, which I'm surprised he got through security with the grater. But he's grating cheese.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be allowed to bring a grater in. I don't know how much damage you can do with a grater.
You could puncture some skin. I believe that.
All right, the next level to this is the radio call. So they're describing this gentleman, which is incredible work by Eagle and Tucker here.
That gentleman was asked to leave the stadium afterwards. Really? Yes, once the video came out, the Ford Field security came to him and said, you can't come in. You smuggled a weapon in here, basically, if a cheese grater is a weapon. I just think on the broadcasting call of it, Eagle is doing the classic Ian Eagle. He's kind of straight. Like, knowing Ross like I do and like we do, I think he's probably triggered because it's wasting food.
Yeah,
like, I don't think
good food.
Ross thinks at least there should be a basket of chips on the floor, or better, it's just his mouth just waiting to catch the cheese. Most of his life is about food, and he loves football, but the food thing, I think, was triggering for him, and I think he wishes he could have found that person, but they still made a moment out of it. That guy's infamous now. It's almost like, can that guy go to the next game and sneak in a grater?
Right? Like, what else you got?
Yeah, he's going to be serial now. Like, it's going to be like Morgana the Bandit, like when she sneaks in.
Yeah,
like it's
Sandman.
Yeah, whoever it is. Bucket Man, Whistle Man, and now we have Grater Man. Peter, I think Grater Man is going to be at a Super Bowl parade. I do.
Grater Man.
I think it's going to be there.
We have one more award.
We do?
We do.
I thought that was it.
Because we haven't involved Tom Brady yet in this show.
Yes.
And we thought Brady was really good at the final minutes of that Bills versus Rams game. Here is the crystal ball call of the week. Brady, maybe his best moment as a broadcaster yet. Take it away, Burkhardt and Brady.
So 106 left. Obviously, the Bills have to get in here, but I wonder what they're thinking.
Yeah, they can't use a timeout, or they're forced to do an onside kick.
They will. Allen on the sneak. Allen, I don't think he got it. He did not. And now they're going to have to use a timeout, to your point.
And you're going to have to an onside kick.
It changes the thought process.
Yeah, we got a 3% chance on an onside kick. To me, take 3 shots throwing it, don't use a timeout, and then you can kick it deep, use your 3 timeouts, and still get the ball with good time. Try the long field goal. That changes the entire complexity of the last minute and 2 seconds of the game. Even if they score, what's the big deal? That could have just cost them the game right there.
Astute.
It's pretty good.
All over it in real time.
It's pretty good in real time. The crystal ball call of the week. We used to see Romo calling out shots. Brady there saying that's the game. And guess what? It was.
He says, even if they scores, what's the big deal?
3% chance.
They did score. It wasn't a big deal. 44-42 game. You know it's the game of the week. The pressure is high. It's in the final minute, and you're into the minutia of clock management, and you're also being critical, and he did all of it. He checked every single box. I think you were right, Peter. I think that was the best moment of Brady's best game this season. And we give him out an award. He's been looking for this award, Tom Brady. Underaccomplished.
This is what Brady needs. This award in his career. That's what
finally had.
Finally validated.
Congratulations, Tom.
Go.
All right, that is Into the Booth. We'll go back into the booth next week. But next, we have all kinds of important stuff coming from league meetings. We have reporters. We have developments, and we're going to talk about the games this coming weekend.
Berlin.
7 Eastern.
Well, the NFL Fan of the Year contest presented by Captain Morgan is back. Let's hear it for Los Angeles Rams Fan of the Year, Gary the Ram Young. Gary, redefining what it means to be a Rams fan. He personally helped build SoFi Stadium, which bears his signature on one of the beams. And since SoFi was built, Gary's attended every single home game and founded the Die Hard Rams Booster Club. But beyond game day, Gary is committed to community service, coordinating charity events with fellow Rams fans and supporting underprivileged families and the homeless. Learn more about all 32 nominees and vote for your favorite. Visit NFL.com/fan of the year. Now, we've talked about the drama brewing in Philadelphia between wide receiver A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. But apparently all is also not well in San Francisco with their star receiver. Deebo Samuel posting on social media, quote, "Not struggling at all, just getting the ball." He later deleted the comment saying he wasn't being critical of anyone with the team. Well, head coach Kyle Shanahan had to say this about Deebo.
Yeah, we'd always love things to stay in-house. That's probably why I don't mess with social media. I'm sure I'd get worked up and stuff too if I was reading stuff about myself all the time. Then I'd maybe make a tweet or something. But that's, I mean, is it a distraction in our building? No. I mean, we've got to answer questions about it. It's the first time I've talked about it. Is right here. But I mean, Deebo and I see each other every day and talk about stuff every day. So my advice is to not let outside frustrate you, because just answering those things isn't going to help you in any way. Usually only hurt you. But as far as like what we deal with in our relationships and our team, it's water under the bridge.
Well, why Samuel may be so frustrated? Well, he hasn't scored since week 6, doesn't have more than 22 yards receiving in his last 4 games. But much like A.J. Brown, we're going to have to see if he makes a concerted effort to get the ball on Thursday night, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely, Sherry. We appreciate you so much. Love NFL Fan of the Year. Love all the news. But now we like to look at the stories that develop in season that perhaps start internationally. I was in Munich, Germany a couple months back, and that's really where the Carolina Panthers turn their season around. Who will be going to in an international game next year, and where will it be? Let's welcome in Judy Batista, Ian Rappaport, and Tom Pelissero now from the December League meeting in Irving, Texas. What is the big news? Bring it. Let's go. International games. Woo!
Well, they are going back to Germany, to a new city, Berlin. They will play a game in Berlin's Olympic Stadium, where Jesse Owens starred way back in the 1930s. This would be the 3rd city in Germany that has hosted an NFL game. Again, Berlin, they have played in Munich and in Frankfurt. As we know, Germany has an enormous fan base of NFL fans. Like when they used to play NFL Europe, Germany teams were the ones that had the most rabid fan bases. So they are going there. So now we know the international schedule so far is 3 games in London, 1 in Madrid, and 1 in Berlin. And as we know, that the owners have permission to eventually go to 8 international games per season. We'll see if they get any closer next season or season subsequent. Guys, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it sounds like at least one more spot as yet to be named. We'll see if we get any more inkling as far as where that possibly could be. But you're right about Germany. I mean, you know, anytime you really mention anything, even tangentially related to the NFL in Germany, the love on social media from German fans is very real and very cool. And you know, there's so many incredible scenes we saw, Tom, last year from the various games in Germany. The fact that the NFL is going to Berlin, I know something that is incredibly exciting to plenty of the folks behind us, and now officially announced. Still with some intrigue as far as the overall international schedule, but Berlin being officially announced as something I know is pretty exciting to the people here.
Obviously, we've also heard from Roger Goodell about the possibility of going to Ireland. The NFL has wanted to go back to Mexico City, among other things here. These announcements will probably trickle out all the way until we get into May and get the final NFL schedule. In terms of other things on the docket here, they had the annual labor seminar yesterday, no salary cap projection. That's something that's changed in recent years, that they haven't gotten that here. There's a variety of different announcements and updates for the membership throughout the course of the day. There are several teams that are going to be taking on private equity, which of course has been a big story as a way to have a cash influx for these teams. But no top line voting items beyond this. The big news out of this meeting, NFL to Berlin, June.
Yeah, and we expect to get updates on health and safety, injury data, and from the competition committee as well on the dynamic kickoff and other potential rules changes to come in the offseason.
Great. Good to know. I think the insiders with Steins next to them next year sounds great. Everybody get your passports ready, all right? Yeah, Rap Sheet, I said it.
Great idea.
Appreciate your dedication to the cause.
Tell all our bosses.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. I'll try. I have the platform. We'll wrap up GMFB. We're going to talk Hard Knocks. The new episode was last night on Max.
Finally, guys, finally, it's time to seize the season presented by Caesars Sportsbook. First touchdown odds and Rams, 49ers, take your pick. Kyren, Puka, Debo could really use a touchdown. Debo's out there defending himself, saying it's not on me, I'm not getting the touches. Juwan Jennings, when he gets a touch, he scores every single time, I feel like. That's plus 850. Of course, odds and lines are subject to change. And here's the fun part. Brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. Bet just $1 and double boost your next 10 bets up to $25. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 plus. Jamie, what would you like to say?
I want to talk about Hard Knocks last night. It was episode 2 of the in-season with AFC North aired. And listen, we always love Jameis Winston. We love his takes, what he brings to the table before the game, in game. Here's a special moment at home with Jameis and his family. Take a listen.
Tea time. What's up, big man? How you doing? What's up? You had a snow day today?
Yeah.
It's nothing like unconditional love.
Hey, boo. How you doing?
Like, despite what I might be going through on a daily basis, my boys, they just come love me who I am. Like, they love Dad. Ooh.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, my big man. How was your day today?
Like, you know, they're so used to the football, seeing people recognize them, but now they're recognizing it and putting 2 and 2 together. It's, I mean, I can't really put it in words, but it's something to see, and I'm grateful to experience it.
If you do not get those feet out of my face, I am going to tickle them. My oldest came to me after the Monday Night Football game. He was like, Dad, I see why you're popular now.
He's a quarterback, and he's from New Orleans, and lots of people in New Orleans and Birmingham know him, and lots of people in Ohio are starting to know him.
Going through this journey like this NFL journey, we just take advantage of every day. Like my career and fatherhood, it's continuous learning, and it's one day at a time.
Never.
That is so sweet. That was really, really amazing to see. Really cute kids. And almost everybody in Ohio, guys, is starting to love Jameis Winston. It's perfect.
Shout out to Malachi. Awesome line. And he's right. He's a legend in Birmingham. He's a legend in New Orleans. He was beloved in Tampa, too. And now he's in Ohio making his mark. I'm happy for Jameis. It's been a long road. But he's finally getting some flowers for the leader he is.
It's cool to see him in his parenting role. I would love to, if they roll the cameras a little bit more, I just want to see one of the kids get in trouble. How he motivates his kids to do the right thing. I'd pay to see that one right there.
Totally.
The Lord will lead
Sam, what do you
them.
think?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Jameis Winston, a big star of the show. Mike Tomlin as well. Every time he speaks, it feels like his energy just exudes. It's the Tomlin effect that we hear players talk about a lot.
And we all have kids, so to know that your child says you're popular, you really made it, Jameis.
Win.
Popular.
I'm working on my Mike Tomlin walk because he walks like this. I'm starting to notice this. Watching this walk, he walks like this.
All right.
W.
That's right. This is Good Morning Football. We are presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky, live in LA and New York City, halfway through the week, ahead of Week 14. Early mid-December, this is Akbar Bajbi-Amila, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt. I'm Jamie Erdahl. Peter, how are you doing? Wonderful to see you.
I am doing well. I am so happy to be back on Good Morning Football. If you watched the show Monday, I was playing hurt. You guys carried me. Hopefully I have color back in my face. It was not my best effort Monday, but I brought it the best I could. We're here to have an amazing day, a perfect game, if you will, today on this Wednesday.
I think that's a cover story for Peter. I have it on good authority. He took the day off to answer the call. He was tracking down Luigi, and he found him, and he nailed him. And Peter, thank you very much. I know,
Peter
dude. Like that is
Golden Arches.
I know, buddy. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
McDonald's and Altoona. That's where I'm at.
So thank you for doing that.
Hey, man, you gutted that one out, man. You're a strong one for that one.
I thought it was because Akbar was on a radio saying that you two were friends, now you're not friends anymore, and then Peter would take the day off, and now he's back, and now we got to clarify it all here, all right?
Done with that story, right? Oh, no, we're not.
Somehow we're not. We're on to Chapter 4. Let's cover it here. Time for the lead block on GMFB. All right, here we go. Just to review, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This is them on the sidelines during the Eagles' 22-16 win over the Panthers last Sunday. Just having a chat about, I don't know, why do we keep handing the ball off and not running more pass plays? Just a general curiosity. A.J. seemed quite upset following the game. He was asked several times on what the offense needs to work on, and his singular answer was passing. Here's his head coach, Nick Sirianni, who was asked if he was concerned about A.J. being worried about his own touches.
I didn't take it that way, and again, you can do anything and spin it any way, but I didn't take it that way, and I took it as we want to get better as a passing attack. AJ's part of the passing attack, and so we all want to be better at it. I want to be better at it. Jalen wants to be better at it. AJ wants to be better at it. And hey, Jalen and AJ are both really outstanding people and both really outstanding players.
All right, let's just level set. The Eagles are in search of their 10th straight win on Sunday. They host the Pittsburgh Steelers, their in-state rival, who, by the way, have not won in Philadelphia since 1965. What do we make of this Eagles drama now that we are at Wednesday? Normally, this is a page-turn day. Peter, do you still consider this scenario a distraction for this team that is on fire?
Yeah. What this did was it opened up a local story and made it a huge national story. We're starting our A block on a Wednesday in Week 15 to talk about a very specific issue for a team that should be having no problems at all. But when you get those comments, and then you get Brandon Graham, who I love, and is a 15-year veteran, and I'm sure regrets the second he said those words about friends, it now becomes this other issue. But then it also opens the microscope to those of us who wouldn't have been looking at it this way to say, well, actually, what is the problem? The Philly passing attack has been dreadful this year. You saw the stats. They have 200 yards receiving on average. That's 30th in the league. If you go through the history of teams that go on to win Super Bowls, they at least have something in the top half when it comes to that. I actually went and did the deep dive. I listened to the entire Brandon Graham interview, full hour.
Full hour.
I'm like, maybe this was taken out of context. BG's been a guy that we've had on the show a million times. Yeah. He's no dummy. He wouldn't say something to cause problems. It kind of wasn't out of context. It was really just he threw it out there, and you're like, what? Wait, what was that? And now it's going to be dissected by all of us talking heads on ESPN, NFL Network, and, of course, all of the other shows, and especially locally. What does that all matter? They have to fix this passing game. It is now an issue because it's become a national issue, and they can't go on with every single week having to deal with this, and that's when it becomes a distraction. Truth of the matter is, Jalen Hurts, hey, if you ask me, will you take this record at this point in the season? Of course. Stats-wise, no. If you're A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, and you'd say, would you take it record-wise? Yeah, but stats-wise, no. At some point, the fear is that this is going to catch up with them, but Kellen Moore, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and of course they're without Dallas Goedert now, which hurts. He's such a key part of that offense. I feel like this weekend it has to be now a concerted effort to get that going. I'm not sure it would have been such a concerted effort in the game plan to get these guys the rock early and to make sure A.J.'s happy. had this all blown up the way it has in the last 3 days. So my long answer to the short question is, yeah, I think it's a distraction. I think it's something they have to all deal with and they have to open up and talk about. It might be good in the long term, but you better believe they're going to try to get that passing game going against Pittsburgh, maybe even more so than they would have been, to just say, hey, running the ball with Saquon works. We're all happy. We're all winning. Apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, I like this. I don't think it's a distraction. I think it's a motivation because it forces the Eagles to kind of confront this issue. Sometimes when you're having success, you can just bury kind of the issues and the problems and keep that thing out in front of you. And the biggest success we've seen so far for the Eagles has been that outstanding run game with Saquon Barkley. But this right here is like a prime opportunity. You look down and you see the schedule for the Eagles. Like, the highest powered offense they've gone up against is the Baltimore Ravens. Like, that right there says a lot to me. And so, yes, they're having success in the run game, but what happens when you reach a juggernaut and you go up against the Detroit Lions that can pass, they can run, they can do it all? You're going to get behind. Strategically, when you get to and preparing for a team, everybody's familiar with the scouting report, where you go out and you break down tendencies for the team. Their tendency would be easy, very easy. Now, you can say, oh, yeah, no one's done it. They're 9-2, or, you know, they've won 9 straight games or whatever. With their record, that's not the issue. It's when you get further down the line, like you're going up against this team against the Steelers, but mostly against a high-powered offense like a Detroit Lions. I look at what happened against the Carolina Panthers. A 3-10 Carolina Panthers, they almost won that game. Like, and you look at A.J. Brown, he had 4 catches or 4 targets, 3 catches. He didn't have a lot of production. They need to get that thing going. So it's not a distraction. To me, it's an attention. It's a call to attention. We need to fix this, and we need to fix it now. So shout out to Sirianni for at least not taking it personal, not getting in his feelings and going, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Just don't force the ball, because right now we're looking at Jalen Hurts. He's been protecting the ball. 5 interceptions this season. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot. Don't get scared, though. Go out there and make some big plays.
To me, this is now, the baton has been passed. And this is now a Jalen Hurts story. And this is why you have a franchise quarterback. This is why you pay that franchise quarterback, because now here you go. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? How are you going to play? I think Jalen Hurts is someone who does not rattle, who is not emotional, who is not running to social media, who will not subtweet, he will not change avatars, he will not shade anything. And I think that is one of his best qualities, is that his pulse is like that. And we have seen it for years, whether it is going toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the Super Bowl, whether it is getting benched in the title game in college and still coming out and celebrating with your team, whether it's when you're walking off the field in Washington and the stands collapse and almost kill you and you don't even blink. That guy is very calm and very chill, and I think that is one of his best assets, specifically on that team. With that coach, in that media market, now with these wide receivers, Jalen Hurts may not be your favorite player, but he is calm and collected. I'm not saying he lights it up every week, but he is calm and collected, and I feel like for Philadelphia, there's a deja vu feeling here, and if you're watching social media yesterday, Donovan's out there chirping, T.O. is then chirping Donovan, and this feels different to me, because Donovan McNabb was a guy who is, I am the star, I am Donovan, I am the prince that was promised, I'm going to lead Philadelphia to the promised land, and he's got all these little role player wide receivers, and it's just fine. Well, in comes T.O., and I don't think Donovan liked it. I don't think he handled it well, and if you ask Philadelphia Eagle fans to look back on that, Donovan was a baby, and Donovan was a prima donna, and blah, 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 couldn't take it. I think Jalen Hurts can take it. I think he is built for it. I think he hears this story and says, all right, I'm going to take a deep breath. And, yeah, I'm going to get A.J. the ball this week because I want to win a Super Bowl with him, and I know we need him to do that. But I think he is made for this moment. I really do. There are better passers, definitely. There are better runners. I don't know if there's a better guy psychologically for this type of story in this market with these wide receivers than Jalen Hurts right now. I think he's going to be really good this week. I think they'll fix it with A.J. I do not think this will derail the season. I think we're actually going to get a shot this weekend of him and A.J. walking off the field, jabbing each other and laughing after they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe Jalen Hurts. I really do. I think he's made for this.
That is the ultimate compliment, I would think, if you were a franchise quarterback, coming from anyone who is a national media member, the fact that you are made for a moment of chaos and divisiveness, and here they are, the Eagles. Why does it feel so perfect that they're going up against the Steelers this weekend to fix all these problems? Something we are definitely looking forward to. As is this next part of our first segment here. We're going to welcome in Judy Battista, Tom Pelissero, and Ian Rappaport from the December League meeting happening right now in Irving, Texas. Everybody looks lovely. I always look forward to the holiday shot down the hallway from you three. What's on the agenda?
Well, they've already been here a few days, guys. They had an accelerator program for potential general manager candidates. That is wrapping up today. They had the labor seminar where they usually tell GMs what the salary cap figure is going to be. They didn't get it so far, so they were here yesterday. And now today, the owners meet. On the agenda, they will get an update guide from on international games. They're going to deal with some business matters, some minority shares of teams that are